While in college, I was aspiring to work in film or video games or some kind of entertainment, something that would be like on a screen eventually. And in one of the classes, we did different genres of film. We watched Westerns, we watched romance, we watched heist movies. We kind of went through the different genres. And one of my favorites was Wes Anderson and watching the Grand Budapest Hotel. And so now he's coming out with a new film called The Phoenician Scheme. I love Wes Anderson because of his cinematography, the color schemes, the set designs. His use of miniatures is really important to me. I love that. I love seeing those in his films. I love the quirkiness. I love the whimsy of the stories. I wanted to kind of talk through why I like Wes Anderson before we go see the film. See if I had any thoughts from the trailers, see if I could make any kind of predictions, and then go watch the movie and see if anything I said was right. Probably not. I'm not really good at doing this. I'm not really good at predictions. I'm not good at reading like a murder mystery book and predicting who actually did it correctly. I've only, done that once. So far, my favorite Wes Anderson film is probably Asteroid City. I absolutely loved the theme of that. I loved how it was a story, but it was a story that was about a play, and the play had a story, and there was a story associated with what the play was going on. I don't understand the complete story in Asteroid City. That's still lost on me, even though I've watched it about 5 times now. I loved all the actors in it. I love the cinematography. I love some of these shots in this movie. They look beautiful. They are stunning, visually stunning to me. I love the whimsy. It's just one of those movies where on an evening I can snuggle up in a blanket and really like enjoy myself and not get distracted by the outside world. And that's kind of what I've always wanted to do when I'm watching a movie. You know, I just want to kind of take that time of that movie and just kind of sit and be within that story, be within that kind of enclosed space, that like bubble, and really just enjoy something. So I just love how I feel when I'm watching his movies. I love the whimsy. I love the color. I love how it's a world that's kind of like our world, but it's a little different. It's like a different universe if like something changed, or if it was just more pretty, or if it had more things going on. I haven't watched every Wes Anderson movie. I've only watched some of them. The ones that I have watched are Asteroid City, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Isle of Dogs, and The French Dispatch. Yes, yep, those are all the ones I have watched. Asteroid City is probably my favorite one so far. Like, I'm always trying to like remember that like little kid creativity, that imagination you have when you're a child. And I feel like so many adults lose that. And I have always been someone that is not wanting to lose that. I don't want to lose that creativity, that imagination you have as a kid. And I think Wes Anderson is kind of like in the same mindset as me. I love the imagination. I love what he's come up with. I love the whimsy. I love that feeling of how, like, as a kid, like, the world through rose-colored glasses and everything's amazing, and I feel like that's exactly what Wes Anderson is trying to, like, have in these movies. So I am very excited for The Phoenician Scheme just because I loved Asteroid City so much, and so this is his next movie after that. So the main character, Zaza, is trying to construct one last big scheme. That's the name of the movie, Phoenician Scheme. He's trying to make his last big enterprise, his last big project come to life before he thinks he's going to die, is what it sounds like. He's not old, he's like middle-aged. He is played by Benicio del Toro, so he's not old, he's not like frail. He is a middle-aged man with some kids, but he is a schemer. He is a con artist. He is somebody that not a lot of people like. So there are a lot of people out to get him supposedly in this movie. So he's trying to do one big project, one last big huzzah to be able to have his family inherit like some success or money. And Zaza's oldest child is a nun, but she's also the only daughter of his children, and she is set to inherit and run this empire after he's dead. So he is trying to set up one big project, one final success for her to be able to be a part of and help with. I've also seen, like, there's some shots of, I think, plane crashes. There's a couple plane crashes in this movie, and they are with miniatures. I love miniatures. That's very exciting. I hope there are more than just plane crashes. We'll see. I really love the Grand Budapest Hotel and that. I really love the Roadrunner in Asteroid City and the train cars. I absolutely adore them. They look so good. They take so much work. I really love miniatures and the miniature sets and everything that he always works on. So I'm very excited to see those. I do think, I think there might be a romance in plot line to this movie. I hope that is, because it looks really cute if they are going to have one. Michael Cera's character, who is an entomologist, has a crush on Zaza's daughter, who is a nun. She is a nun, so she's not really like looking for anyone, but I really hope I hope they have like a romantic interest going on. I really hope that becomes a plot line. I think Zaza, our main character, the businessman, the schemer, I think he is, like, I feel like the movie is setting it up so he dies either at the end or toward the end. Or maybe he doesn't, maybe that's the twist, is that he doesn't die. I think Wes Anderson has like a good cast for this movie. I think the cast sounds amazing from not even seeing it. I am very sad that I don't think Steve Carell is in it. Steve Carell did an amazing job in Asteroid City. I loved his little hotel manager character. He was so cute. I loved the personality of him. Tom Hanks is back. ScarJo is back from Asteroid City. I loved them in that too. I think Zero in Grand Budapest Hotel is back. And Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. I seen him. He has like a weird beard on, weird fake beard, weird fake eyebrows. William Dafoe is also back. William Dafoe was also in Asteroid City for a couple of moments, and also Bill Murray is supposed to be in it somewhere as well. I'm excited to see some of the other people coming in, being in a Wes Anderson movie. I really love how they get to really like use their acting skills. I feel like a lot of normal movies, they're always trying to be the same character, and here like I feel like they finally get like a refresher. I feel like actors like it because they're able to do something new or some different kind of character than what they usually do. You know, I'm quite excited to go see this movie. We're gonna make a day out of it. I'm gonna try and take some notes, but from his previous heists or previous projects that have screwed some people over, that it's going to be like a race against time or a race against all these other parties that are trying to get in the way of Zaza, or I think they're actually trying to kill him. I think they're trying to get rid of Zaza completely. They don't want him around anymore. They don't want anything of his business anymore. He has made too many enemies over the years, and so they're finally sick of him, and so he thinks this is like his last big project he can do. So he's recruiting his daughter, he's recruiting his other children's tutor, which is Michael Cera. He's recruiting like a team. He's going around. I think that's why Scarlett Johansson's in the movie. I think her character is someone he's trying to recruit on his side. He's trying to build up like people surrounding him. He's trying to actually have people that can help him with this big project instead of doing it all on his own. I think one of the themes is definitely going to be family. I think one of the themes is definitely going to be trust. Being able to build your trust with someone, because his daughter hasn't really known him. It seemed like they don't know each other very well. They don't talk. Maybe I'll come back and I'll say this is way better than Asteroid City, or maybe I'll be complaining, but I don't think I'll complain. I'm hoping, cross my fingers, that I really like this one as well. All right, I'm gonna hold this. It was like an hour ago that we just watched the Phoenician Scheme. We're just kind of sitting in the plaza now of where the movie theater is that we went to, and we're right at a cafe, and I took some notes during the movie, and then I decided, like, while we were sitting here and he's working and drawing, my husband, I would take my notes, and I just want to get like some of my initial thoughts out of the way before I like sit down again later and actually like discuss like some of the things. I just want to say, like, I didn't really like it. Like I thought I would. I was really excited about this one because I loved Asteroid City so much, and I know Asteroid City was very like a dividing movie for Wes Anderson fans. A lot of people didn't like it, and I loved it, so I thought if I loved that one, I would love this one too. Maybe that should have been like a sign for me. It's my initial thoughts is that, like, yeah, it wasn't as pretty. Like, I felt like the color scheme was very bland, and I wasn't expecting that after Asteroid City. It just felt very safe. I think that's a good word to use. This movie just felt very safe compared to what Asteroid City was. Hold on, somebody is backing up their golf cart and making it beep. Oh, the ways of Florida, am I right? Yeah, I'll get more into my detailed thoughts when I get home. Maybe like let it sit with me for a little bit, but I just wanted to have my initial reaction for you guys. All right, let's get out of this Florida heat. Let me make sure I'm just not gonna cough because I can feel it in my throat. As you can see, my hair is up now, so it has been a few days since we've watched the Phoenician Scheme. Let's kind of start with my broad thoughts on the Phoenician Scheme. I am kind of like overall disappointed. This was promoted as an action comedy movie, and while like obviously there is comedy to it, and there are some like jokes in there that I thought were sort of funny, but also like it's all things that Wes Anderson has kind of done before. It's just like kind of like a Wes Anderson trope at this point, some of the comedy. And I was just disappointed. I feel like since I liked Asteroid City so much, this one, it didn't have anything stand out to me, so I was just disappointed in it. And I also felt like he was kind of playing it safe. Like I feel like a lot of things I've seen people say is that they do like this better than Asteroid City, and a lot of people like really didn't feel Asteroid City in the same way I did. I really liked it as an artist because of all the cinematography, because of the shots, because of the color palette, because of the framework that it was around, the miniatures and stuff. And like, while there are like those elements still, it's still a Wes Anderson film, The Phoenician Scheme, like obviously. But like, I feel like it's a lot more toned down. I feel like Asteroid City was a real crank up in those things, and he wanted to see how far he could push like his style. And I feel like once Asteroid City came out and a lot of people were kind of on the fence about it, a lot of people did not like it. There are like a few like me that liked it. Like it just seemed like a very polarizing Wes Anderson film. So maybe because of that, he decided to do the Phoenician Scheme a little bit safer in terms of certain things and stuff. But I do know he was talking about the Phoenician Scheme while doing press for Asteroid City. So I'm not sure exactly I'm not Wes Anderson, so I don't know what he was thinking. But I don't know if those reviews or the way the general public felt about his movie coincide with the way that Phoenician Scheme kind of became what it is. And I feel like it was very safe. It was a very stereotypical Wes Anderson movie. And I think I kind of said that right after the movie when I filmed that little, like, my first thoughts was, like, I was disappointed. So I just wanted to re-say that just in case I cut all that out. Is that, like, I wasn't super happy. There wasn't any, like, moments that really, really stood out to me that, like, I overly enjoyed, like Asteroid City. Like, there's a few scenes in that one, like the alien first showing up, that scene when they're all eating, like, their picnic lunch after the first, like, assembly of the junior stargazer group. Like, I absolutely love the way that looks. I think it's absolutely stunning. Like, I didn't have any of those moments watching this Phoenician Scheme. So to me, like, it was not as enjoyable. But I could see why maybe if he decided to play it safe after Asteroid City because of like what people said and how people reacted to that, I can completely understand. I think I said this in my opening. I'm not a movie reviewer. I don't know like specific terminology for some things. I only have like a vague understanding of movies and the movie processes and like everything kind of associated with that as being someone that took like a couple film studies classes and being in the arts industry. But I'm trying to like in blank terms just kind of review the movie. So nothing too complicated. I don't want to do like a whole plot summary because also with Wes Anderson films, I as a casual audience member, an everyday person, I don't understand the stories. And I feel like a lot of people say that, like they don't understand the story. I feel like I understand the first 75% of the story. Then once he always gets to the end, I feel like Wes Anderson always like kind of like forgets that he's on a timeline. The ending climax, the ending conflict, and like the kind of like all of that portion is kind of squished and has to happen really, really fast so then he can actually like play out the epilogue of the story. So I feel like that happens a lot. Wes Anderson stories, they're always like the actual like moment when things are happening, when things are getting resolved, when you're finally getting some answers. I feel like he always has to rush that part because he doesn't leave enough time for like the epilogue he wants to do. Like I feel like he plans out the story very well and then we're building up and we're building up and we're building up and maybe we spent too much time building up, but he doesn't want to cut any of that. And so then, like, I feel like it's always rushed right at the end, right at the conflict. So then I get lost. I get lost every time that is, like, happening. Your mind is trying to jump and trying to put together the pieces that he's given you, but it's kind of going too fast for my brain to be able to piece it together in the moment. So then I'm just kind of left like hanging. I'm kind of like, I can't figure it out right now, and I got to keep watching because the story keeps moving, so I got to hold on. And then by the time like the epilogue's happening, I'm just lost. Like in the Phoenician Scheme, it's like, okay, it's 1950s. Zaza, he's trying to leave something for his family because he just had this near-death experience and he thinks he saw heaven or some kind of heaven. From seeing that, he thinks his time is coming. Like he thinks he's going to die soon. So he is like pushes himself to make his daughter like officially his heir. And so he wants to push forward and get all these things going so that when he dies, he like can feel like he dies in peace. And so I'm like, okay, I've got the grasp of it. It's that. And then you get the underlying tones of romance that I had predicted would be there, which where they are. You get the undertones of the romance, Zaza's need to have like a family again, or not again. I feel like Zaza never had like his family, like he had family in terms of like there are people there, he just never connected with his family. And Zaza is technically a bad person, and through connecting with his daughter, he's able to become more of like what his family needs him to be and to become a more compassionate and understanding human. So we get the base, and we get that this whole movie is going to be about him trying to leave a legacy for his family, and also throughout that he is actually establishing a bond with his family. Like, great, I get it easily. Right off the bat, super good. But then as we keep going along, as things start to rush, it gets lost. The big investment, the big plan Zaza has and wants to finish and carry out is the Phoenician Scheme. And the Phoenician Scheme is called that because he is trying to build this big set of infrastructure in the fictionalized city of Phoenicia. So he has this idea of this scheme. I keep saying scheme because that's the name of the movie, but it's like a big plan, a big economic plan for this country of Phoenicia. And he brings his daughter on to help him finish this one big last project. And he wants to bring her on initially as like a test to make sure that she can be his heir. They keep calling it like a trial run, a trial period. It's not Lae'zel. It's Liesel, I think, or Liesel. Liesel? I think we're gonna call her Liesel, not Lae'zel, Liesel. So Liesel is his daughter, and so he wants to include her on the Phoenician Scheme to make sure like she understands the business. Liesel is kind of at this point in her life where she is trying to become a nun. She is trying to become a sister. She had a mother, and when her mother died, she kind of ended up being brought to the church and raised there. So she's ready to take on that process, that to become an official like sister of the church. And he is like, don't do that. Do this. She doesn't really want to join him. The only way he convinces her when he says, we can get revenge for your mother, we can finally figure out who actually killed her, she is then on board because of that. So she agrees doing this trial run with her father. She initially thinks it was Zaza, and she just believes Zaza right away when he says that he didn't kill her mother. And throughout the movie, while she's in these meetings, she is trying to like, she's only asked a couple. That's where I think like we lose the plot again a little bit more. But she only asks a couple of these businessmen like what happened to her mother, and only a couple comment on, that's another reoccurring thing, they comment on how like they loved her mother, they knew her mother, and she would be so proud of her. You meet Zaza and you're supposed to think that Zaza is the main character. Yeah, Zaza is the one doing everything. Zaza is the one making all these deals. It's Zaza's thing, it's Zaza's plan, it's his companies, but Liesel is there. And Liesel is kind of the one that like begins the character transition for both of them. She wants to be a sister. She starts by saying, okay, father, I'll go along with this. I'll do the trial run for you, but like I really don't want to. But if we do this, I need these things to change. I needed to not be unethical. I needed to run in the way that I feel like it needs to be a positive actual thing for the world. And he's kind of like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. She kind of is like, no, not really. Like, I will change those things. Like, if I'm actually going to be your heir and take over all this for you, like, you have to listen to me a little bit. I think she is, like, although she is not the person we're following most of the time, we are following, like, the perspective of Zaza throughout this whole movie. I feel like she stole the show. And I feel like she really was the one, like, I most connected with. She was the one that I thought was funny, the one that I thought was like the rational one. She was the one like in the story that I would want to be friends with or would want to talk to. She was more interesting than Zaza too. Like I feel like he wasn't very quirky in any way. He was kind of the same tone throughout everything. Well, she started off very plain, and then as the time went on, you saw like there was more interesting things about her. So I kept being interested in Liesel than Zaza. Zaza kind of was like, okay, he's a businessman, he's got this plan, he's gonna do whatever it takes to kind of do it. And it's kind of the same thing throughout. Like until like the end, do you see that he's actually like a better person because of his connection with his family now. Like it's very subtle transition, and it doesn't change like his demeanor at all. It doesn't change his personality at all. So the change is kind of hard to see. So while he is actually changing, I feel like Liesel does a much better way of showing that throughout the movie, and I just like her a lot more in terms of as a main character. Michael Cera is a new person that he has used, and he did a good job with what he was given. I don't know if I like his character as it goes, but at the same time we meet Liesel, we meet Michael Cera's character, Bjorn. He starts off as a tutor, but then he gets roped into going along with Zaza and everything because Zaza's personal assistant perishes in the beginning scene. So he just grabs Bjorn and tells him that he has to come with them and he needs to have him assisting with these meetings. So he is going around with them. I like the accent. I like, you know, kind of how he's portrayed. And then like 2/3 of the way through the movie, we find out like that is technically all an act. That Bjorn is not Bjorn, he's actually like a spy. He is the spy for the diplomats that are trying to hurt Zaza's enterprises. He is an American, he doesn't have an accent, so like the whole thing is Michael Cera playing a guy who's playing a guy and being a spy. And I don't like how his character ends up. I liked him better as Bjorn. I'm not here to fix anything or suggest anything, because again, I'm not a filmmaker, I don't know. But I didn't like the way Michael Cera's character ended up. I just felt like it was so funny as that, and then I just think the transition, yeah, it was supposed to be like, you know, a complete 180, and you're supposed to be like, oh my god. And after the transition, I thought he was then a bit boring, a bit plain. I really liked the quirkiness of the character. I thought it brought like something. Maybe they should have had more hints that he was a spy or that he wasn't who he said he was throughout the movie. We learn right beforehand, before it is revealed to the like characters in the film, that he's a spy. So you don't get a lot of like of that tension of being like, oh, I know what's going on, or oh, I don't know what's going on. One of my other favorite movies of all time is the second Knives Out film, The Glass Onion, that was on Netflix. I absolutely love how that one kind of plays out, where like halfway through the movie you have no clue what's going on, and then the other half of the movie you know exactly like what's going on with our characters. And I wish maybe more of that played in. Like then I would see like the character as way more complex than like what it was, where I just enjoyed him being Bjorn. And then like if I had known it was a ruse the whole time, then I would have been like, oh, what is he really, what is going on? Like I would have had more questions, and I would have been more intrigued rather than just enjoying Bjorn. And so then maybe I would have liked him at the end a little bit more as his like full character, as who he really was. Zaza has too much power economically. He's not like super powerful and like he does a lot of violent things. He's not like he doesn't own like a mafia gang kind of thing. He is just like a businessman, and some of the business is bad, some of the business is that, but he just owns too much of it, and he has too much power that way that now like countries want to get rid of him or want to get rid of his power. They're not after to kill him, there's somebody else after to kill him, which is kind of confusing at a certain point. But in the beginning, the bureaucratic diplomatic party that you see specifically states They are not trying to kill Zaza. They are just trying to take away his power because they just don't want to deal with him anymore. To do that, somehow they have like done, I don't know, something to make a piece that is essential, basically either cost more or they have replaced it and it is now worthless. So there is a financial gap in his whole big Phoenicia infrastructure plan, and basically there is 25% that is now not covered anymore. Like he has lost 25% value and needs to gain that back to be able to build up this whole infrastructure. In the infrastructure, he is working with certain people on each portion of it. It is broken down into railroads, waterways, the workforce, even the banks that are going to be like built in Phoenicia, or like doing all the banking for this certain project. That all, they have lost money and now need to fill in this like 25% gap. And so what Zaza is planning to do is to go out and have like a meeting with each person that he has partnered with. Even though they've already had this whole contract, he's already done all of this work, they now have to go back and redo this work to try and fill in that gap of 25%. So he is trying to make it so that the person he's working with fills in the gap of 25%. And he is going after them in such a way that if he can get one person to fill in the 25%, then he can go and have meetings with the other ones and say, well, this person covered it, so why can't you? And like, he's trying to pit them all against each other. He's trying to scheme, and he wants to talk his way through this. But of course, like, shenanigans happen. They have like a title card that basically comes up for each section based on these gaps, and they come up and kind of say where we're at gap-wise and how much more he has to do to be able to successfully like start this project and get this project off the ground. So that's why they're always on a plane. And that's why there's always like a plane thing happening. Most of the comedy in this movie is kind of like the repetitive nature of some things. So there's always a plane. There might always be a plane crash happening. There is like repeating of words. There is like a repeating of giving a hand grenade as a gift and people appreciating it and using that at the start of a negotiation like meeting. So it always ends with kind of like Zaza trying to solve like a new conflict that arises from these meetings. Like the meetings start off fine, but then there's a conflict, and so Zaza has to deal with the conflict to be able to resolve the meeting, because each person he meets with initially says, I'm not covering that gap. I'm not covering an extra 25% of the cost. They think it gets ridiculous. They think he should, but he can't. It's one of his businesses that suffered, so he is already at a loss. So he is trying to get them to do it instead. So there's a lot of that repeating stuff going on, repeating nature, and each business person is played by like a prominent actor. I'm not going to get too into like them. I was also kind of disappointed in the way that the scheme happened. Like I feel like it should have been more like a heisty kind of thing. I wanted it to seem more Zaza was like smart in the way he was doing this. Some of the deals he got with the other businessmen in this movie were kind of like coincidences. Like the first one is a basketball game. And I think it goes on for way too long. I know a lot of people love it and a lot of people think it's really funny, but I think if maybe he shortened it just a little bit and then left more time for that story at the end that I said was confusing, like the climax, then maybe like the story would have flowed better. That scene, like it's basically like, oh yeah, it's one of those tropes where it's like they'll never win, and then they actually do, like, and they appreciate what they did. So he gets a good deal for that. One of the other ones, he goes into, this other guy has a party going on while he's having this meeting. It just so happens that while he's having this meeting, that rebel forces come in and start robbing the place, and that they come out of their meeting to try and stop it. And he just steps in front of the guy too. Like he takes a bullet for him, and that's why he feels so compelled to have a good deal with Zaza. But it's like Zaza didn't even step in front of him to take the bullet. Zaza stepped in front of him to talk to the guy. And again, it's like comedy. It's funny. And I just wish maybe it was more wacky. I just wish maybe it was like I don't know, something else happened. Like I wish it was like, oh, he actually came up with that whole thing. Like I wish it was schemes within this giant scheme to make this whole project work. Because they tell you like he is such a strategic businessman, man. He is always 2 steps ahead of us. That's why he has so much power, and that's why we need to bring him down. We've never been able to do it before. Like, I don't know. I just felt like there was also a lot of repeating of certain funny moments that he had in other films. So like him repeating certain things or certain scenes or certain ways things are filmed. Like, for example, in the Grand Budapest Hotel, there is like the iconic elevator, and there are elevator scenes throughout that movie. In this one, there is like an elevator scene, and honestly, that scene did not have to take place in an elevator. It could have taken place on the airplane or something. It could have been something more. Another thing that he does is repeat the, like, in Asteroid City right toward the end, Margot Robbie is in the film for like just a short time, but in that time they have a very iconic, I feel like, scene where she is telling what she was supposed to be in Asteroid City, but her part was cut from the actual play. And so she's not really in the movie because that cut happened, but she is going through what would have happened in their scene if they had it. So she is saying, well, you say, and then I say, and then you say your line, and then I say my line. And that's kind of a very big moment concluding the conflict of one of the actors in the play's like idea. I don't know how to specifically say it. Again, this is when the story is that gets kind of messy and I don't quite understand what's going on, but I feel like that scene is very impactful. The whole way it is shot, the whole way it is happening, the way that they are positioned in the scene, and the way we were taken out of the play, like it's all very, very, very happening for a reason, and I completely understand like how it was set up. Like, I think it's wonderful. They have an I said, you said scene in the Phoenician Scheme. He is repeating that trope, and it doesn't land the same way. It doesn't feel to me like there is a reason why the I said, you said is happening. It doesn't appear in like a good setting. Like, they aren't positioned in such a way. They aren't in like a setting that is making it impactful. It's not a good way to use this iconic thing you set up in your last film. And I don't know. I like, if he had set it up more like the Asteroid City one, if it had more of a reason other than just saying like, oh, I get to do another I said, you said scene, I would understand. But like, I don't know, it just felt off. It felt kind of like, oh, you're just doing it to add it. Like, you're just adding in an elevator scene because of the Grand Budapest Hotel. You're just adding the I say, you say because it was just in your last film, Asteroid City. And I don't know. I didn't like that. I could like those callbacks, but like, I feel like they were just used in such a throwaway way that like, I didn't appreciate it. That kind of brings me in, like, I didn't really like any of the jokes. I wasn't laughing. It maybe takes me like 1 or 2 watches of a movie to really like be able to just sit back and relax and really like feel like the jokes, because I'm like invested to like figure out what's going on. I'm invested to know what's happening in the movie. Like, I am trying so hard in these Wes Anderson movies to like understand and grasp what's going on and to be able to really focus. The comedy lines just go in one ear and out the other. So I feel like if I watch this movie again, which I won't be, I would maybe get the comedy a little bit more, but I thought it was kind of dull. I love that quirky comedy. I feel like I have a sense of dry humor. I always tell jokes, what I think are jokes, to my husband, and then he just like doesn't laugh, and I'm like, that was a joke, and he's like, oh. I'm like, okay, Wes Anderson, they're not supposed to be overly funny. He's not like setting up a punchline and then telling a joke. Like, this is a comedy I would normally like, but I feel like it wasn't quirky enough. I guess you could say, like, it's definitely quirky compared to most cinema, you know, most mainstream cinema. But I love the Asteroid City. I love the personalities of like the Steve Carell character in Asteroid City. I thought he was hilarious. I loved his personality. I loved how he kept it going the whole time. That's why I thought I would love Bjorn. I thought I would love Bjorn's personality, and he was funny, like he was cute. But then like halfway through the movie that changed and he wasn't that character anymore. It wasn't ramped up as high as I would like for the comedy to really work for me. I already thought the basketball scene went too far. Like, it went on too long, so it became kind of unfunny to me. I was kind of like waiting for the next thing to kind of happen because, you know, I'm trying to get the story to go because, again, it's the first time I'm watching it. So I thought Liesel was funny. I liked her lines where she's like, I don't drink hard liquor, I don't drink this but this, and I don't have that but that. Like, I liked all those points. So like some of the humor was good, but it was very few and far between where I actually liked what was happening. I felt like the quirkiness needed to be ramped up even higher for more of that comedy to land for me. So another tick off the thing, I didn't like the comedy in the comedy movie. Great. So not looking good, not doing good on terms of me liking this thing. So yeah, I felt like the quirkiness that I like from him, again, was playing it a little safer after the Asteroid City movie came out. I think it was dialed back. I don't know when this movie was filmed. I don't know if it was filmed after Asteroid City, and I don't know if maybe even then, like while filming this movie, if he like even toned it down and more. I don't know. But I felt it was toned down. I feel like there were some things that maybe could have been more over the top and like worked better for me. I don't know. So we kind of go through all of the meetings. He doesn't actually succeed. I think that's a good thing, is that Zaza never actually succeeds. I think one person covers the whole 25%, and then the other ones, it's kind of split differently. It's not all like he is actually succeeding at everything. So I really like that. I think that was a good thing to have. Technically, in the end, the Phoenician scheme does actually happen. The whole plan, the whole Phoenicia infrastructure thing, it is actually fully covered at the end. There is one person that Zaza has to cover the whole 25% of, and that is his uncle, or Liesel's uncle. I think it's Liesel's uncle and Zaza's brother. Uncle, what's his name? What's his name? Yes, Uncle Nubar. Uncle Nubar, who is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. She's not seen for like 75% of the movie, but that is who Zaza suspects killed Liesel's mother. And so throughout the film, like, she's trying to get more information. She's trying to get in these meetings if that's actually true. He just says he suspects, he doesn't really know. And then also throughout the whole film, there are multiple attempts to kill Zaza, and we're supposed to kind of think it's the bureaucrats, but the bureaucrats right in the beginning say, like, they are not trying to kill him. Like, they are not after him. They are not trying to kill him in that way. They just want to get rid of his, like, businesses. They're not really down to do the violent stuff. But right at the end, did you eat lunch? No, I did not eat lunch. His brother is actually one of the people he needs to go meet and needs to get him to give him to cover the gap of 25%. But Zaza is suspecting that he killed Liesel's mom, and like, he also doesn't meet with him till the very end. I think he's the one that he is trying to trap with everyone else. He's the one where he's like, well, everyone else helped me cover the gap, so will you? But when we go talk to him, there is a scene right before that, and it is Zaza saying to Liesel that there is another thing he has to show her. This whole scheme, he had all of his plans for each member. Each member of the partnerships has like a dedicated file, which is in a shoebox. And Liesel, before we go meet with your uncle, I have one more shoebox to show you. And the shoebox is, I don't quite get it. I don't quite know what the shoebox is. It has some specific things in it that I think are supposed to like help prove that the uncle murdered her mother, but I'm not really sure. You're supposed to understand, but I don't understand. Again, this part moves too fast. I'm not able to connect the dots in my head. I saw some other people, I was trying to Google, like, what does a shoebox mean? What is a secret shoebox? What do the things in the secret shoebox mean? Because we also don't even see all of them on screen. Oh, I wrote it down, I thought, but maybe I don't. I already don't have good handwriting because I'm left-handed. Okay, here we go. I wrote it down. So I specifically wrote what the fuck was in the last shoebox. It had some things in it that you see. They actually show you there is some poison, there is some sentimental letters from her mother in the shoebox, there is a picture of her mother, there's a skeleton key in it, and there is a pic of baby Zaza and her grandfather's, so Zaza's father's ashes in the shoebox, and also like a commemorative ceremonial coin, and then a couple other things. So like we don't see the coin and we don't see those other things, and I cannot remember them for the life of me after the film came out, and I don't want to go watch it again just to write down some of these things. But in the shoebox, they bring this out during the meeting with the uncle, and you see some of it laid out, and he takes a poison capsule and stuff like that happens and charade ensues. But basically what it comes down to is the uncle will not cover the gap. So Zaza says he will cover the gap. He decides he will do that. That will ruin them financially. That will ruin everything he's built. Everything else will be ruined if he covers this gap by himself, this 25%. Basically, they will be bankrupt, but the project will go ahead. He is actually making good choices instead of using slave labor and, whatnot. And this whole time, there have been multiple attempts on his life. There have been multiple assassins coming after him, and assassins he knows and worked with and stuff like that. And there's multiple plane crashes because people are trying to kill him that aren't the bureaucrats, and it actually is shown to you that it is his brother, the uncle, that has actually been trying to kill him the whole time. I don't quite know why he was trying to kill him this whole time. Again, not very clear, this ending. I didn't quite get it. So he was trying to kill him, and they have this whole like middle-aged man chase middle-aged man around a palace trying to kill him and each other and failing. And then when he finally is able to corner him, it is in the big presentation room, which is where he was trying to say that the project was a success. Look at everything we built together, everyone. So everyone is there from the whole movie. And the uncle comes in and has one of the hand grenades that he was giving to everyone, and is poised to grenade Zaza in this whole room just to kill Zaza. But in a flashback, flash moment, flash something, Uncle remembers some of the things that was in that shoebox, and they show up very quickly. It was the photo of the mother and another few things from the shoebox that I can't quite remember that actually make him change his mind, and he doesn't throw the hand grenade. He actually holds it to his chest and he blows up. He dies. I didn't connect those dots. I think maybe some other people connected those dots. I'm going to guess it is probably because he did murder Liesel's mother and he is regretful for some reason, but I don't know why he's regretful after 20 years of doing it and is trying to kill her father. But Liesel also, I think the reason why he probably blows himself up is because of the reveal. I don't know, it has something to do with that shoebox, and that shoebox is also one of the reasons why you find out that Liesel is actually not Zaza's real daughter. Biologically, she is just, I don't think we quite get an answer, or maybe we did and I missed it, but it seemed like it was down to either the uncle or his wife's personal assistant was her actual father, and so that's kind of why he didn't raise Liesel. But in this moment of time, he thought she was the best one to take on his legacy because she was also the oldest out of all of her brothers who aren't actually her brothers, but she's always known them to be her brothers. So it's kind of like a found family theme that is projected throughout this whole movie, and you're revealed pieces of it as you go. I think that was more successful than the whole scheme story. I don't know if I needed Wes Anderson to do a whole nother found family themed movie though, because I feel like The Grand Budapest is that. I feel like Zero actually makes a connection with Gustav, and he's kind of who his family is, and the hotel is kind of his family, and he finds a purpose in the hotel and with Gustav. And I feel like that's kind of a found family theme. It's just not as significant as it is here in the Phoenician Scheme, where Zaza actually becomes a lot closer with his family. He takes on Liesel. Liesel feels like she actually has a family and helps start raising the boys at the end. It's just all kind of it's kind of similar, but not, like, it's kind of stronger in this one, but I feel like he's already kind of done that successfully. Like, I see it in the Grand Budapest Hotel, so why do we need another found family moment here in the Phoenician Scheme, where we could have maybe had, like, a different theme going on? I don't know. I'm kind of feel like I'm messing all this up. And I don't think we actually figure out if the uncle killed her mother. I think Zaza establishes that it might have been the uncle. I don't think we ever get a clear answer on that. Or if the clear answer is in the shoebox, I wasn't able to figure that out. I feel like it is. I feel like the clear answer is in the shoebox, but I didn't quite get it. I feel like Benedict Cumberbatch with the beard and the eyebrows, maybe just like slightly too much. One or the other would have done it. It's just crazy. It's too, like, they look so fake. I think that's part of the point, is like, oh, look at him. But I also don't, like, quite care. Like, I guess it's funny. I don't know. But I do want to say that, like, the ending in that Zaza is still alive. I had predicted that actually Zaza would die before we went and saw this movie. I think I said in my initial thing that I thought Zaza was going to die, but he did not die. He did not die. They end up, you know, going broke, like I said, and the Phoenician Scheme is successful, but in the end, they don't have any money, so they just open like a small little restaurant together, and Liesel marries Bjorn. I don't remember what his real name is, but he does say to keep calling him Bjorn at some point. So get proposed to by Bjorn, and she's gonna marry him just in like the same way that Zaza is married ScarJo as one of the like business meetings. It was kind of that like play off. So that was cute. They kind of end it with Liesel and Zaza raising the younger brothers from the beginning of the film, and they run a restaurant together and kind of just have like a humble family life now after losing everything, and they both now appreciate the family that they do have. I do like this. I do like that he didn't have to die, but I felt like most movies, I'm like, they didn't have to die. They could have told the story a different way. They could have made that point if that person still didn't die. They could have just done it this way, but it's just always easier at some point for films to be like, well, we'll just kill him. And I feel like this is the one film where I felt maybe like, well, they could have just killed him. She could have been sad and like grieve her father and done all this change and took care of her brothers in memory of her father. She could have had like a good life that was technically set up by Zaza, and he actually was successful, even though like it wasn't really what he thought would have been success way back when at the beginning of the movie. So like this is the one time I was like, oh my God, he didn't die? Like, they didn't actually kill this character? That was like the one thing. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm kind of surprised that Wes Anderson didn't kill him. But like everything else, it felt like everything else was kind of playing it safe. Maybe this was playing it safe then. Maybe not killing Zaza and just kind of ending it there was being safe. But like throughout the whole film, Zaza is like, I know I'm gonna die, I know I'm gonna die, or I'm gonna die soon. People keep trying to assassinate me. So I thought it would have been like a kind of comedy moment where he's just like always coming back alive. I'm always here. Like, you guys keep trying and I'm not dead. And then like he actually did die. I feel like that would have been like one of those funny moments. But then could have still had the actual ending theme be the same if he did die. So that kind of surprised me. That wasn't what I was expecting. So all in all, I was disappointed. I really was hoping for something that pushed like color, cinematography, structure, like Asteroid City did. I was really hoping like it'd be something like that. I know a lot of people were thrown off by Asteroid City, but I just loved it so much. And I thought it was like, this is really gonna be like the next step in Wes Anderson movies. Like, this is really like, he's pushing stuff, like he's pushing things here, and maybe he'll tone it back a little bit in the next film. Like, maybe he pushed too hard. Like, this just was way out there for him. And like, now Phoenician Scheme, it just felt like he really reeled it back in after that. It really is just another Wes Anderson film, and this isn't one that I'm like loving. Like, I don't know, I was kind of let down. I wish it was like something. I wish I was given something to grasp onto. Like even the miniatures in this film, like I feel like they were quite boring. Like the final like project at the end, and there was like some of the trains and the airplanes and all the airplane crashes, but like I don't know, it was kind of boring. They kind of were like side characters. They weren't like any actual scenes that really like mattered. Like I love in the Grand Budapest Hotel, like the skiing down the mountain scene. Like I feel like that's such a good use of that. And Asteroid City, like the whole alien, there wasn't like anything going on with the miniatures that I really like enjoy them happening in the Phoenician Scheme. So that was really disappointing as well. My hopes were too high. I had my hopes way too high. Maybe I should temper them for the next one. At least now, like, you know, I know. So yeah. I thought this would go a different direction. I really thought at the beginning like this would be like a really good movie, and I would have to be like really comparing it to Asteroid City and really getting into myself and being like, which one do I really like more? And that just isn't how it turned out. So maybe I won't review a movie ever again because this was slightly disappointing and awkward now. But maybe by chance another good one will come and get me, and I'll do that eventually in the future. So. All right. Bye, guys. Do you want to come be in the video? Do you want to come here? Oh, look at you. He says no. That's fine. You want to go under there and nap?